And we are live. Incredible. Hi, everyone. Yeah, let's get started, really. So, the question is, can you build a fully automated property deal analyzer, one that finds you deals while you sleep? So, my name is Toby Talevarambul, and I've been writing software for 14 years, everything from small mobile apps to payment systems that move serious money around. And for the last 9 months, I've been using AI to automate different parts of my business. And today, I'm going to use Claude in order to build a deal analyzer live and for the first time right now. And also, if you want the files that I'm going to be creating during this video, just it should be in the description below. So yeah, let's get started really. If I share my screen. There you go. So you can see Claude here. And essentially what I'm going to be doing now is minimize this. No, I can't. What I've done so far is that I've built up a bit of a working directory, which is in here, and in there it's just for my projects. So for this one, it's just the property deal analyzer. I even built or created a Claude MD file, and the main purpose of this file is to essentially instruct Claude to know how you want to interact with it, how it should interact with you, and it just helps Claude kind of be I don't know, less descriptive and be more straightforward and everything really. So I can show you a bit of everything that's in here. So to start off with, and how to handle the instructions. So with Claude, every time I ask it to do something, I don't want it to make any assumptions. So I want it to kind of ask me questions, which as I build out the software, you should be able to see that happening. So yeah, it's not going to make any assumptions, and yes, if it feels like there's any gaps in knowledge, it's going to ask me questions really. In terms of important rules, kind of thing, it's just just normal practice of not exposing the logs and credentials and all that kind of stuff. The secrets really. You want to kind of keep that essentially confidential. So when I give it some maybe API keys, I don't want it to put that out on the screen or give it back to me. I've added a bit for model recommendation. So for most tasks you do, you don't need a high model. You can go with like a lower one. So yeah, I've added kind of instructions in there so that every time I ask it to do something, it will suggest me a specific model that I should use rather than like a higher one. I think everyone kind of defaults to a high model, to be honest. They might use Opus, or even recently they might start using a Fable, but for most of the tasks, you don't need that. They're using up a lot of tokens for essentially no reason. And then I've got like a skill creation rule in here. Every time I create a skill, which I probably won't be using for this session. Okay, so what you want to do first is that we need to, as part of the property deal analyzer, we need to kind of come up with some requirements and some definition of how do we want it to work. And I mean, yeah, essentially that's it really. How do you want it to work, and what kind of properties you want to look at, and how do you want to implement it. The way I'm going to be doing this is essentially I'm going to be using Fable, which I'll set it right now. It's obviously the highest model, and until the 12th that we can use. So I'm going to be using that for the time being in order to essentially create an implementation description, and it be as detailed as possible. So with the higher models, one of the best things about those models is that it's good for complex tasks, meaning that for figuring things out, or for doing analysis is really good. But when it comes to building things, obviously it is really good, but you just don't need that much power. If you have a clear and defined instruction on how to build something, you can use one of the lower models, which also means you're saving on tokens, or you're just not wasting tokens essentially. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, sounds good. All right, so let's get that started. So I'm gonna ask code. I want to build a property deal analyzer. I want to create a PRD. It's called a product uh, refinement document, product requirement document, and an implementation guide. Even though I do have it in my Claude MD file, you're going to ask me questions. I'm going to answer it anyways. Ask me any questions as needed before you create the file. This is kind of how I guess you want to use your AI really, instead of just telling it or giving it a small and a couple of sentences to do something. You kind of, the best practices is to get it to ask you as many questions as possible in order to clarify exactly what you want. It just saves so much time in just, I don't know, later down the line, when you're trying to do some bug fixes or when you're trying to change things really. So yeah, it's doing its thing, using a few tokens. It's trying to understand what I want. So, okay, so with this deal analyzer, what kind of strategy do I want? I'm going to go with a simple buy-to-let. I just don't want to. So right now, for the sake of the time and also for simplicity, I'm going to keep it simple to buy-to-lets. I think the best thing to be. What form of tool? So with this one, I'm going to go to other and something that can go through properties on Rightmove, like look up the numbers and analyze the images. So I think with this tool, what I really want is something that's going to just obviously go on Rightmove and then go through properties one by one based on a criteria. We're based on a criteria, which could be, I don't know, postcode, or could be the area, bedroom, C2C. So I'm going to give it some kind of criteria, and then because obviously it's automated overnight or something, I just wanted to start working on it really. So let's go next. Manual entry. So what type of price, rent cost? I'll do a phased one. I'm going to do a lean version. I don't think I want it to be. No, I'll go with the full template. It's recommended, so let's go with that. Then let's see what it comes out with. I think right now, in terms of this tool, I don't want to imagine the end product yet, just because if I can work with Claude in order to figure that out, it might be the best case scenario. So let's say, maybe what I want is a plugin that goes in Chrome or something, and then it just goes through all the properties on Rightmove. But maybe that might not be the best solution, and the best thing to do right now is just work it out. So okay. So how's your tool access Rightmove data? Third-party property API recommended. I want this to be as free as possible, so I'm probably not going to use a third-party API. Browser automation. Yep, like human browsing. I think it's slow, can break the site changes, gray areas, and terms. I feel like a browser automation is the best way to go. The third option isn't really, so you basically paste the link in yourself and does the analysis for you, which I think is also fairly good. And apparently it's a zero API cost. Is that what I really want? I'm not sure. You know what? I'm going to go with option 3. I think option 2 is what I really want. But, let's just figure out the analysis part of it first. What should the image analysis assist from listing photos? So should look at the condition, red flags, render appeal, and should look for all of them. So it's basically asking me when when it's kind of analyzing the images, what does it want me to do, or what do I want it to do, and basically go through all of these really. How should it run on demand? Schedule monitoring, so runs daily, weekly against saved criteria, alerts you when a deal breaks the threshold. I think right now I'm going to do it on demand. Yeah, there we go. Both in paste. Let's do that. And then later on, I will do it more scheduled, so it will run in the background. Oh, there we go. That was the button there. What should the output look like for each search? So rank, shortlist report, deal pipeline spreadsheet, both. Yeah, you know what? Let's go crazy. Let's go with both. Okay, still figuring it out. So it's in the background. What's it doing now? It's just essentially figuring it out. To be honest, it's gonna go through what I've given it so far, use some best practices, and then create a documentation for me. So in this project right now, it doesn't have any of my business context or anything, to be honest, really. So I'm basically starting from scratch, from fresh. But ideally, how the best way to set up Claude is that you create some business context files for, essentially maybe like your background, your business background, what kind of ideal client profile you're going after, what's the market you're going after, what kind of properties you're going after, what kind of strategies. The main reason is just because when Claude try to figure out exactly what you want, if it has some context around, I don't know, maybe I'm not saying exactly who you are, but like what your business is, then it's just so much easier for Claude give you exactly what you want. Which is what you need really. So let's say, I don't know, if your business is related to maybe selling cat toys, and then you ask for a deal analyzer, Claude's it's going to understand like, how does it relate to cat toys, everything really, and then it's going to be confused. So you essentially you want to give Claude enough context on exactly what you want to do. I don't have it set up for this, but maybe I can potentially. So while this loads, I can potentially show you those kind of things. So go back a bit. So this is my main project, and in here, let's see for, I don't know, investors. Yeah, there we go, business context. And this is all the stuff I have in there. And like my business model, the market I'm going after. Let's say if I'm making sales call, the objections that I potentially have, and all that kind of stuff. It just gives Claude enough hand really. Okay, so it looks like it's created for me. Let's see if I can really zoom in. I'm hoping everyone can see me properly. Okay, so it's created files. So I should be able to see that in it's in PRD. I kind of wanted to move it to be honest, I can do it myself rather than asking what would you do it really. So if I just go back, there we go. All right, let's see what it's done. So it's each ID is declared exactly once. It's formatted twice. Nice. Was it open specified? So phase one, you build a right move listing, so URLs, text, and photos into Claude Code. Okay. And then Claude extracts the facts and assesses the photos. Okay, so okay. Sounds like what it's going to do is I had to give it the photos and the links and everything really, which is something that I don't want to do. So let me try and amend it. And phase two criteria building sourcing with the third-party software property API. Okay. Um, okay. I want to say I don't want to copy the text and photos because then what's the point of me doing this really? Rather, I want to give you the link and you do the analysis for me. I think a part of me want to build maybe like a potential desktop application for potentially. So current models fine for solution. There we go. So as I was using in the Claude MD file, and obviously giving me suggested models that you can see working in now. Go clarification, what changes the mechanism, the practical, which to give me a link and interest. The violating right moves. Yeah, the issue is right move obviously has the anti-scraping terms and conditions really. Um, and view the listing and view the photos and run analysis. I think the more is giving me, I think more I'm thinking a plugin of some sort is probably the only answer. So I might try and direct Claude towards that actually before I start building anything. Okay, amazing. So this is one of the things with AI really. I feel like people have a kind of misconception that you can just give it something to do and then it just does it for you on a first try. I think you're going to assume it's always going to be back and forth with AI. So with Claude, ChatGPT, with Gemini, it's just going to be a case of you maybe say something quite vague, and then instead of it trying to like try to understand exactly what you mean, just try and go a bit backwards and forwards to understand what you mean. So yeah, it looks like it's doing things. Yeah, it's still working on the PRD. Is editing memory.md. So what that is, it's a Claude thing that they've released fairly recently, maybe like a few months ago, where it so from like every time you have a conversation with it, or every time you do anything with it, it will try to remember exactly what you're trying to do. Really. So okay. So what's it saying so far? The PRD is updated to version 2.0. Fair enough. Of 0.2. The workflow is now that you paste the right link, and the tool does everything else. Note that you mute the file, blah blah. It's fine. So all the edits in there. So here's the link flow work. Chrome opens each URL in your Chrome browser while closing Chrome extension, reading the description, and stepping in to the photo gallery. Okay, so what it looks like it's doing is that it's going to use the Cloud's Chrome extension in order to interact with the site. It's not exactly what I want. I think it's a good start. Um, okay, so you know what? Let me just keep something open here in case he wants to do that. So I like the fact that it's given it some specific like requirement numbers and stuff. Register cool. From your own one practice there is that the Cloud Chrome extension needs to be installed and connected when you use it all. Yeah, I already have the Cloud in Chrome extension, so that's fine. Um, yeah, that sounds good. That's okay. I think so. If I ask it, is the implementation guide also written out? Yeah. All right, sounds good. Perfect. So before this, what I did earlier was that I created a new skill in order to uh, create a PRD file and an implementation guide, and I put that into the same MD file really, so that you can just use one file in order to do everything. And that basically I used kind of the best practices I found online in order to do that, and just went through to make sure it's fine. Okay, let's do it. So if I go to Sonnet, because I don't want to use up all my tokens, I think with Fable, I think I might be fine. I still have a good amount of tokens left. I don't want to use it, so yep. Go ahead and build face. If I need to change the model back, I think it will tell me. It hasn't, so it should be fine. Yeah, it's doing it now. I think what it does that. Should we go through the PRD and then see what's in there? So, yep, it's a fairly long and descriptive process. Very, very detailed as well. So you got the problem statement here, which basically what problem you're trying to solve, and then the goals. So essentially like milestones or what to judge the criteria by really. I think one thing I should have done before I do this, let me stop it. So one thing I forgot to do is that there's a kind of like a little tag, a little instruction set called goal, um, and then you want to use that. Remember PRD. Um, There we go. So essentially, if you use that, what Claude will do is that it will look through your instructions, look through your goals, known goals, and your scope and everything really, and then it will use that in order to figure out obviously what you want, and then you try to build it, and there's some review phases that it goes through where it will try and look through the goals again, see what you build is correct or not, and just keep like going back and forth until it's done. This basically means that like as a developer or as a person using AI, you can just step away for a bit, let us do his thing, and then come back to it, and then see how it goes. So yeah. So on the right hand side, obviously, we can have our metrics to also judge against. Um, I think it's added some extra metrics. I think as part of this, was later on I can change some stuff around, but it would also been good if I did feed Claude some context so that it would ask me more criteria, more metric related things of I don't know regarding doing a deal analysis, like how far do you want to look to find the properties or similar looking properties really. Here you got scope in here. We're going to be building this out in phases, and then so phase one, given the URL, and then using that information in order to get everything. It looks like it's going to use the stamp duty, get the buy-to-let numbers, mortgage costs, and all that kind of stuff. I think one thing I could have done here is I could have fed it like an existing deal analyzer that I use, and then it could have used that also in order to figure out what kind of numbers are we looking for. I think right now we're just kind of using his knowledge or using the internet kind of thing to figure it out really, which is also fine. Obviously, at this stage, we're just looking for like MVP, like minimum value product, where it just does something that is closely related to what I want, and then we can build up on top of it. You're not going to get it perfect first time around, and you can spend a lot of time trying to build, obviously try to have a conversation with Claude in order to get the instructions right and exactly what you want. But even then, you still be building on top of it and then trying to improve it. And I think the best thing to do is just give it some high level base, like vague instructions. No, not vague, but like it's not like fully fledged product, just maybe like one part of the product, and see what comes out of it, and then it'll trigger some ideas within you in order to move forward. So yeah, let's see how this goes. I think today I just want some kind of MVP being built really, and I might maybe do some couple of revisions on top of it, and probably leave it at that. And then next time build on top of that. That's cool. We got some stakeholders in here to sign off. So as part of the review process, it probably will ask me, is the product good? Do you want to change anything about it? So I can then sign that off, and then got some change logs, and there we go. This is the implementation guide. It's given it some features or some requirements to implement, and then you got some implementation steps as well. Use a YAML file. It's going to use some Python scripts. It's going to create some skills as well. Interesting. I think when I get to final product, I would move away from creating skills. I don't want obviously this is an AI created product, but if I can automate most part of it as much as possible, that would be good rather than rely on AI, which would just be costly, really. It looks it's got some alternatives in there as well. Have an Excel tool, browser automation, manual pasting of texts and photos and everything is also rejected. Server-side URL fetching, but right now has a broad protection thing, so it doesn't help. I think the issue with right moves that it doesn't really let you you know access it like that. It's kind of annoying. It is what it is. There we go. It's got a list of all the files it's going to create, which isn't much to be honest. Really, I think when it comes to like normal software, you like depending on how it's structured, you can have like maybe hundreds thousands of lines code. But I think this is a very small project. Let's see what Claude's doing now. So uh, it's done the first task. So what's first task? Task one is creating a skills folder. So Planning done that, and then it's going to smoke test it. Let me look at just in case updating tasks. Oh no, it's created the deal calculator. Yeah, there we go. So I mean that's basically task two. So it's basically done that. It's created the deal calculator, and then it's going to run a test on it. I believe yeah, it's going to do a smoke test on it. I guess sample deal, which basically means that obviously it knows the inputs and the outputs, so it knows that if you put in this deal or this property or this set of files through it, it should come out with these numbers at the end. And if it doesn't, then that's when something's going wrong. It looks like yeah, it's manually verifying the stamp duty, tax, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it looks like it's done well. Um, the next thing it's doing it's installing PyTest to I guess to do more unit testing. Okay, so it looks like it found an issue with the test it created, so now it was fixing the test. Fair enough. So it creates 17 tests. Honestly, so in a day to day, this even just getting to this part would take like a few days, really. Just writing some kind of basic scripts and then writing like 17 tests and everything. At least like maybe 3 days of work. But that's like doing a matter of minutes, which is insane. It's creating a pipeline. Task 4 down. It's already on task 4. Going up so fast. Okay, so it's created. Okay, fair enough. So it's yeah, created the script, created a test script, the test script, test the initial script, and then it created a pipeline. So what's the purpose of the pipeline? The pipeline, I guess, is for the deals. Right. Okay, it'd be interesting to know how that works. So yeah, we need to test it out. Obviously, once it's done, really. Um, I don't want it really creating any kind of CRM, although it probably would naturally would have to. I feel like when you get a list of properties that is done an analysis for, you know, you need to do actions on it and you install that somewhere. So it probably will end up creating CRM, which is fine. I think as an ultimate product, yeah, that would be good. So I think as a bit of a more context kind of thing, obviously. So I was a deal analyzer or deal sourcer working in Manchester, sourcing um, maybe more buy-to-let properties, and then I went into doing rent to service accommodation properties, really. And I was using, to kind of source the properties. I would kind of avoid using Rightmove just because if you ask like any sourcer or any kind of I guess coach or any kind of mentor around this, they always say that Rightmove is not where the deals are. So yeah, you would use a property engine or property filter in order to find the deals. And to be fair, I think they were fairly great, really. Although from my perspective, I kind of used them more to analyze the deals I already found, more off-market deals, really, which I thought, yeah, they were fairly good at. But I think this kind of software where something that kind of, I don't know, just in the background, maybe something you don't pay for that it just runs and then finds all the properties for you. So when you wake up, all you have to do is just call up the agent. I think it's yeah, I think it's a good tool to have. Okay, so It's done task 6 and 7, which is creating skills and the reference files. As context on this, so basically, when people normally create skills, what they do is, and they're just going to say ask Claude to create a skill for them, and the skills end up being like hundreds of lines long and it's really big. And then every time you use the skill, Claude has to bring all of that into the context, which means, and then send that to, say using the APIs, which means that you end up using tokens quite a lot. So in order to avoid that, what I've done is I've had a skill and a reference kind of structure. So the skill essentially has like a high level instructions on what to do, and then it uses the reference file that contains all the details, and then the details only get brought in when Claude steps through each of the steps in the skill, really, which means it just narrows down the amount of tokens you use by quite a lot. You can tell I really do try and conserve my tokens as much as possible. I feel like sometimes, a lot of times when you just end up hitting the limit and you can't do anything for like 2-3 hours, it's just it's very annoying. So you put these practices in just for that, just for those reasons. Okay, so yeah, it's done the skills. What's it doing now? So 112 lines, which isn't too much. Oh no, that's for the skill. Yeah, so with the skill, when you create one, I've had like a hard limit of you shouldn't have more than 200 lines, really, in a skill, because if it gets more than 200, it's bringing too much into the context for growth. Okay, so where are we now? We are on. It's verifying the pipeline. Then what should the support to confirm? Fair enough. Yeah, still creating. Yeah, okay, creating more skills. I feel like right now, at this stage, I think having skills isn't really exactly what I was after. But I think it's fine. Maybe later on, maybe as part of phase two, or maybe later on down the line, I'll probably try and convert those skills into some kind of scripts that's kind of more automated, really. Because skills, they're great, but if it's automated, it's just better. Okay, nice. Sounds like it's done. So what's it done so far? Created a script for that. I created some test scripts, pipeline, um, the skills. It's verified it by running a full end to end. What's genuinely blocked on you? I can't do this myself. We're listening to the test. Okay, so it wants me to give it um, like right move listings in order to verify it itself. So this is what I'm talking about. When you do when you use the goal tag and stuff, it essentially tried to do its own analysis and try to verify itself. Really, confirm the placeholder false. Okay, so you can amend the placeholder false. That's fine. And Chrome needs to be installed and connected. All right, let's go on right move and give it some. Let's find our property. So let's find a property in Manchester house. Maybe a 2-3 bedroom, and let's look for an old listing. There we go. One is Alfred. I'm not going to do any analysis on it. Let's give it to Paul and see what happens. So there we go. I've given it a right move link. Let's see what it does. So right now it's asking for 5 links. So I'm going to give it one, or maybe keep giving some until it's kind of certain that it's doing exactly what I wanted to do. But look at my token usage. You can see it hasn't really gone up too much. I think before we started, I can't remember how much we were in really. Oh, control. There we go. So yeah, right now, so when it kind of looks like this with the little blue things and stuff, and when it says obviously close debugging, yeah, close right now, going through the browser right now. So yeah, like I'm not moving the browser at the moment. I'm not touching anything. I'm not moving any mouses. It's doing everything for me. I think it's reading through the text. So while it does that, what I will do is I might potentially have it side by side so I can also see what Claude's thinking. Yeah, let's look into the listing. You're looking through the pictures and trying to figure out what kind of you know property, I don't know, type it is really. It's quite fascinating. Just realized, I think because I'm in the way, I don't know if you can see it properly, and I don't think I can move myself around. So can I do anything? No. I think you might be stuck with just kind of seeing me in the corner, but you can see most of it. That's fine. I mean, to be fair, this is a really good property. It's good. It's good condition. I would say it's turnkey. Um, it's obviously it's an old listed one. So yeah, let's see how it handles it. Oh, there's even a floor plan, which is good. I wonder if it's going to scroll up to see the floor plan. I mean, it knows it. Yeah, remaining photos, reach bathroom, garden, floor plan. Nice. I think as a little kind of side note, I feel this is kind of very fascinating, really. The fact that you now have this AI thing that can control your browser and then do things as you would do it. Okay, there we go. So it's gone through the pictures, and then it's given me some stuff back. So it's looked through 19 photos and the floor plan and four running numbers, two things. So listing is well outside of your current criteria. For some reason, my criteria is set to Doncaster. No idea why. Um, I need your expected rent. This is a for sale listing. The rent figure is quoted. Okay, it's asking me for my expected rent. I mean, I can't really give it this information really, so I'm gonna say skip the rent. The rent um, for now. Yeah, it's outside of your saved criteria. It didn't. So early on, it didn't ask me for what my criteria was. Um, so I think it just assumed Doncaster and 150k. So this is also something. I think later on at some point I would probably have to, I don't know, we argue with Claude about and ask say it. Don't make any assumptions really. But yeah, let's carry on. See what happens. Um, I think right now I'll probably leave the rental estimate for the time being. Although I think it needs the rent estimate in order to work out the deal. So maybe for today I'll probably leave it, and then I can probably get it to obviously go through right move and figure out what the rent would probably be for this kind of property. I think right now it looks like what it's doing is I think it's making like just from looking at the pictures and everything. I think it's just gonna make a guess um, on what the property value is. But let's see how it goes. You can tell it's getting interesting when you lean in and try and see exactly how it's going. Okay, it's created a end-to-end analysis while in a browser. Nice. So verdict is rejected this property because it falls outside of my criteria. So I guess I had to define my criteria at some points. Maybe as a tool, one of the things they could ask you as you open the tool is the criteria really, which is fine. Look at the photos. It's grade B. I'm not sure where the grades come in, but I wonder if it's created some kind of guide on what the grades mean. If it has, then I probably will get it too. It says it needs light refurb, which I would say probably is incorrect, really. I mean, maybe the garden a bit. So it says it needs the living room, hallway, and the bedrooms are freshly decorated. The kitchen. So where's the kitchen? What is? Have I missed it? Um, it's saying the kitchen is freestanding cooker and dated oak. Okay, it is a bit dated actually. So okay, maybe it's right. And a bathroom plain aged grout. I don't know how you can see the grout so clearly. Yeah, to be fair, no, okay, no, it's right. It's kind of plain and aged. And tile would be where a refurb spend would go. So it needs a new kitchen and a bathroom. I think it needs light refurbs. I think that's fine. No red flags, no damp, no cracking, no structural concerns. That's insane that you can see that. Um, Rent appeal 3 out of 5. There's a decent location near a hospital, primary school, which I guess. Yeah, there's a hospital there, primary school, probably somewhere in here. Or I'm sure it's probably in the text somewhere. Um, okay. So you didn't run the actual numbers of the yield and cash flow because you just skip the rent. I think for this property, I might find out what the rent is and then use that. Obviously, later on, I will use Claude in order to figure it out. But I think right now, I'll probably use it. So let's see if I go with the M67PH, go with postcode, and then find out roughly what the rent would be. What's the postcode again? M6. M67PH. 67PH. Okay. It was 3 bedroom, wasn't it? So 3 bed. Let agreed. This area only. Let's see what happens. Oh, per quarter mile, I feel like we do have a few. It looks like it's around 12, 1300, 1395. Let's go for the lowest. So apparently it's been increased. So let's say 1300. The rent estimate is 1300. So work out the rest of the figures. Two things worth flagging: since it's well outside the current criteria, ignore the criteria. Uh, Also change the criteria to Manchester 2/3 beds. And I'll put no price range. No price range. Whenever you want full financial picture of this one, give me a rent figure. Okay, there we go. I'll give it the rent estimate. I think it's going to carry on and then see what happens. Do you feel like you can just talking to yourself? Really? thinking. Let's see how it goes. So as expected, the verdict logic tests were wrongly coupled to your live editable criteria. So anytime you run your real criteria against golden test breaks. Sample. Okay, so I think so it looks like it created its test against those criteria. I don't think it gave me the criteria before I started testing. It might have, and maybe I just missed it potentially. Um, don't think it did. No, I don't think it did. Okay, anyways, cool. Fair enough. And then it's running a go all 8 test panels. Let's see how it goes. So it seemed to have created some kind of a pipe spreadsheet. I wonder where it's kept it. Reports. Oh, it has created a spreadsheet. Nice. I'll probably get it to give that in a bit. Then the pipeline, config. So this contains my criteria. The default, I think spoke about earlier. I think it's just yeah, it does a mortgage interest and all that kind of stuff. What do you want to go for? Fair enough. Um, I might give it maybe later on at some point, or next time. I give it my deal analyzer and then get it to use that in order to figure it out. I guess I'm trying to think maybe like if the ideal output it uh, uses your deal analyzer, puts in all the numbers for you potentially. But do you really want, like when you wake up, do you really want to go through, open up math, like lots of spreadsheets? I don't know. I don't know if it's something that I would personally want to do. Okay, so this property is 250K, deposit loan, all that kind of stuff. Okay, it does done a better analysis. Okay, and it's saying reject because it's based on it's not you won't work for 7.5 stress tests and stuff. Okay, I mean it has made up some criteria and then run towards it, which is fine. So if I let's open up the spreadsheet and see what comes out. Okay, I mean okay, this is fairly good. Yeah, this is giving me some kind of list. Good check and stuff. Okay, I think now what I wanted to do. Look for comparable. I'm going to change it to Fable again. You know, see, it's done some stuff. I need to look for a comparable properties to find the purchase price. So comparable properties in under I don't know half a mile radius in order to look for the turnkey comparable. Turnkey comparable to find the GDV. Right. So GDV is essentially the gross domestic value of the property. So what that means is that you know within the area, how much of the property essentially goes for, especially you know once it's done up to your good standard. Okay, interesting. Let's see what it does now. This against, it's not obviously. I'm not doing anything. It's it's doing it all on its own. Think okay. I feel like I need to teach it in order to find the postcode. Um, and even in here, it looks like it's going to find properties on the market and not sold properties. So that's also another thing I would have to teach it to look for when you look for comparables. I think obviously right now it is using Claude Desktop in order to look through the site itself. But what I would want to get it to do eventually is that I'll build in some kind of plugin or get Claude to build in a plugin that's going to do it rather than using Claude Desktop really. Um, Although I mean, if Claude Desktop is free, that might not be the worst case scenario where you could still maybe give it some kind of prompt or some kind of script and then it just does it for you. But it's just a case of just doing it automated. Really, I think that's the other thing that I would need to figure it out. Yeah, again, I don't know. It's to find the comparables, it's looking through like on the market properties, um, which isn't really correct. But I do want to know what it comes out with. Does anyone feel like you know how fast AI has developed over the past few years? Really, I think when it initially came out, obviously ChatGPT came out, I think I was very skeptical of what it can do. I don't think I used it for a few months, to be honest. Really. Um, Obviously there was so much hype, and I think when it came out, actually, to be honest, so that sounds like that was like a long, yeah, it was years ago. Um, and yeah, I was very skeptical with it, just because you know all this AI thing that can do, you can ask to do anything, you can do anything once. I don't know, it just seems a very um, I don't know, futuristic, supernatural kind of thing, really. But like, it just it seemed very surreal to me. But so that's why I took months before I started using it. Even with ChatGPT, I was using it, and I just wasn't liking the replies it was giving me, so I didn't really trust it too much. And it took me, I think it took me a while, to understand how to use AI properly, how to give it the right prompts, learning prompt engineering, and even with that, I don't know if you need to know prompt engineering anymore. I feel like the models are so good. I think I think you can now get to a point where you can give it something vague and it kind of understands what you're trying to do. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think it's incredible how fast it's developing really right now, and then how much it's gonna engulf our lives in the future. You can't get away with it. You just can't get away from it. I mean, okay, it's okay. Found a postcode. Nice. That's good. Radius set to yep, half a mile. Nice. Obviously, it's still looking in the wrong area, but it's doing a good job. Again, both my hands are here. Like I'm not even, I'm not. I'm literally not doing anything right now. It's Claude controlling my browser and doing everything for me. And the exercise of this is so that once I can get like verify and give Claude the thumbs up to say that it's doing a good job, like you do with like a normal employee, I guess, then I can turn that into more of an automation, really, where maybe it doesn't need to use this plugin potentially. And we'll see where that goes. And looks like it's go to the bottom of the page. It needs to click the next button. I feel like could be one of the issues really. I think this is why if you're building something like this, some kind of automation, it needs to be run like overnight so that you know. But on the other side, I guess you can still have it run in the background because it only controls, so you can still carry on with the other tabs and do what else you need. Okay, so it's given up control. So what's happening now? I'm gonna check on my tokens to make sure. Oh, it's gone up to 74%. I think using Claude Desktop, you use up a lot of tokens, which is also interesting. This might be something I need to figure out how to get Claude Desktop to not use as much tokens, while not giving up speed, really. But that's something for the future. Again, if anyone wants to kind of download the files from this project, I can list them below really, so that you can either build as you go along, or once I'm completed with it, you can just have the whole list of files, and then you can use that to kind of run it yourself, rather than building it up by yourself really. Creating something. Scripts. Let's see. Gather some comps. It looks like it's done the analysis. So what's it coming with? So the GDV is around 265, 285. Fair enough. So maybe around 270. The property was on the market for around 250, I believe. Yeah, 250. So saying the GDV is around 270. I mean, that's a properties on the market, which is not going to work. But it's still good to see the analysis trying to. So it searched for the postcode. It found properties under half a mile. 3 beds only. Oh, includes subject contract. Nice. Okay. Even then, that doesn't mean that they bought the property yet. It's turnkey, non-extended. It's about a GDV set. Found 7 comparables, also on the market. Um, and then try to look for more for sold city. And there was a property in like 0.01 mile away for 260 with a modern fitted kitchen and bathroom. Nice. Which means that it's probably like a bit better than our property. But it's been sat unsold since March. Okay, after price reduction. So okay, with the analysis, if you do an extended turnkey, then you go for like 280 to 330. not too bad. If we don't modernize it, maybe 210 to 250. So around 230 is what it's looking like. So fair enough. And it's given us some analysis. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to do. So it's done it using on the market properties. Can you do the analysis again, but only for the sold properties? Right. Ask me any questions as needed. So you can see I got kind of misspelled the word analysis, but AI is clever enough that it knows really. Okay, completed sales. Oh, it can look at land registry for completed sales. Interesting. Look at both, but also the what was it? Yeah, the sold house prices. Both as well as the sold house prices section on Rightmove. Go back up to 12 months. Possible, and then yep, same property filter. There we go. All right, let's take it from there. And the camera's a bit far away. Okay, nice. Oh, there we go. It's found. It found where the sold properties are. That's good. And now it's looking for maybe 3-bed properties. Some with, I think it's intelligent enough to know that obviously local properties with pictures and everything, and hopefully like a floor plan. If it doesn't, then that's also something I can tell to do. I think after this is done, next steps I would want to create the plugin. Looks like it's done. Okay, there's 44 completed captures across both pages. Nice. That's modeled up really fast. Interesting. Well, let's see what it finds. So right now it's doing a land registry completion stats as well. Okay. Alright, done so fast. Okay. So it's gone through the analysis. So let's see what it comes up with. So So found sold only evidence and land was exactly as my earlier estimate. Interesting. So sold only GDV is 265 to 280, around 270, and that's hard evidence on exactly where I was asking for. So that's telling me that the property was on the market for 250 is lower than the market value, which is interesting. What I pulled from all language to completions for a semi-detached half mile, 3 beds. Um, the completion data, so the median's around 270, 266. Okay, so yeah, 260, 270 does seem right. I do wonder if we looked at the pictures to make sure if it's in similar condition. Cross check the turnkey sold key. Yeah, there we go. Sales agreed, not yet completed. So 290, 300. So I mean, from the analysis this is done, it looks like the property is kind of undervalued, which you normally don't find on Rightmove and this kind of stuff. So that would be interesting. Yeah, GTV around 270. The reject verdict stands on sold data alone. Where does it play? Okay, interesting. And it looks like I'm approaching the limit. So I think I'm probably going to have to stop it here actually, as it's approaching the limit for my tokens. That's insane. Within like just over an hour, I basically used up all my tokens just on this. And I think this majority is literally just going through the desktop thing. Um, I think in terms of next steps, I think I'll probably figure out or ask Claude to essentially convert this into a plugin of sorts that will run automatically without using the Claude's plugin, if that works. So one caveat worth keeping in mind, land registry doesn't record conditions, so upper quartile turnkey outcome is just an inference. If you want, I can open the sold record pages for the handful of key completions. Many link back with the old listing for photos to verify condition sale. Okay. Yeah, I mean I can't do that right now, but yeah, maybe that's also something I can actually do. Ask you to do really, and then I can turn that into a skill. Okay, fair enough. Sounds good. I think yeah, because I'm running out of tokens, obviously I can't really carry on for today. However, I'll probably carry on either you know maybe tomorrow. Carry on with this, but this is quite interesting, so it's good to know. But yeah, everyone, thanks for watching, and yeah, hope everyone has a good evening. Yeah, again, as I said before, if you want the files from this video, just look at the description, and yeah, I think there's a form you can fill in, and then send you the files. Really, um, sounds good. All right, thanks all. Now the question is, how do I? Yeah, there we go. End my stream. Oh, end.